Guys, we have a buy signal from the SMC bot on Bitcoin. We've finally broken through the resistance and we're starting to push to the upside. So in this video, we're going to look at how high can we go, my predictions, what trades I'm taking, what's going to happen with rate cuts, what my plan is for the rate cut decision. So we were kind of looking at this level in the last video, right? If we watch this video here, we were talking about this breaking. Well, we're challenging it again very soon, right? We tried to test it. It had a sell-off, as you would expect. And we've come straight back the next day. And we actually pierced through it, okay? So this is a very bullish sign. Now, don't forget, I'm not just trading BTC here. I'm also looking at the S&P. I'm looking at gold. If these continue to move up, I would expect BTC to move up with it. Why? Because there's a massive gap right now, and the S&P is about to break into all-time highs. And if it continues this rally, people are going to buy, whales are going to buy BTC because it's lagging behind the stock market trading. So that actually worked out playing lovely. The S&P ended up breaking into all-time highs, and now we're starting to see Bitcoin catch up. And in my opinion, it's still lagging behind gold and the S&P by quite a lot, right? I mean, gold absolutely mooned, and Bitcoin has just kind of been trending down and sideways. So we've kind of been expecting this move for quite a while. The RSI has had a long time to reset, which we're going to talk about as well. Why did we have this reaction recently? I mean, the PPI was added into this move, right? Even though Bitcoin was lagging and it kind of broke the resistance, the PPI news kind of helped it, which has affected the rate cut decisions. And the PPI came down to 2.6, below expectations of 3.3%, so a really big miss. On that, core PPI inflation fell to 2.8%, below expectations of 3.5. Month over month, PPI inflation was negative for the second time since March 2024. Okay, so this really has thrown off the market, and it's a more bullish environment now because the PPI's producer prices, right? It would be very odd or very strange to see a bad CPI report, especially if producer prices are coming down or have been down. It would be very strange to see consumer prices, right? Because if producer prices have come down, usually they're not going to increase the consumer prices. So I did take a trade and I opened along on BTC, 40x leverage, around 113k, 1%. And I said, I should really wait for the daily. I'm just worried that the market will open bullish in 30 minutes. And the cool thing about trading is that so many people have moved their money into ETFs, so we can actually front run them. I love that, right? If we see this news come out and then the market still has 30 minutes, 40 minutes or 50 minutes to open, and we know that there's going to be loads of inflows coming from the ETFs, right? They're going to be rushing to buy because we're probably going to get more rate cuts, and BTC has not been following gold and the stock market, so there's kind of a lag. So it's really nice that we actually get to front run these trades. And when the market opened, it actually did start to rally to the upside. So I said, be cautious of a long flush today. So sometimes they'll come back and flush out the longs, guys, especially when the market looks like it's about to go up. Sometimes what they'll do is come and flush the longs, which can be a really nice entry. PPI lower would be very odd if we got higher CPI tomorrow. So good CPI tomorrow would be more inflows. And then we ended up getting an okay CPI. It wasn't bad, right? We just didn't want a bad CPI. If we want to see continued upside, average or good is great. And we were expecting to see some bad data by September. Okay, so by August, September, we're expecting to see bad data. And we're not seeing that data, but we are seeing a bad labor market, right? So we're probably going to see rate cuts. How the next 3 months is going to go, who knows? Who knows, guys, right? September is historically bearish. Selling may go away is historically bearish. We're seeing a lot of different moves this cycle that we haven't seen in previous cycles. Who knows, right? Who knows? All I'm doing is reacting to the market. If it looks like if we start to get these buy signals from the SMC bot, if we start to get these sell signals from the SMC bot, I'm going to look at the data. If we're at support, I'm going to take longs. This is where we took some longs down here around 108. Unfortunately, it did wick down and hit my stop loss. But risk management is key. There's no point trading without a stop loss. That's how you end up getting wrecked. And there's going to be trade after trade after trade. This market's not going anywhere. We're going to pump, we're going to dump, we're going to pump, we're going to dump for the next 8 years, 10 years, 15 years. Trades are not going anywhere. So I'm not going to chase trades. I'm just going to let the trades come to me. If I hit my stop loss down here, it does suck, right? Because I would have made a colossal amount of money if this had have just ran after I got into my long. But I'm backing along here. We broke through resistance. We closed the daily above. We literally closed the daily above this channel. Game over, right? Literally game over. This is a bullish pattern. It's a bullish falling channel. These tend to break to the upside. They tend to break to the upside 60 to 70% of the way in. We're around that range right now, and we had the buy signal from the SMC bot as well as second confluence that we're about to see some more upside, and then bang, the price ripped up to 116k, which sucks because I was long in 108k and I would have made probably around $100,000 already. But it is what it is, and we're still pushing to the upside, right? So looking very, very bullish until we break back below this channel. I'm not scared. I'm not bothered at all. In fact, it actually looks like the SMC support line is about to roll around and turn into an upwards trend like this, right? So we might even do something like this and ride this up to support until we get the sell signal. It's not going to be that simple though, guys. A lot of people say, oh, you're bullish in September. Guys, I might be taking 5 longs in September. I might be taking 5 shorts in September. I'm trading the data. However the PPI came out would have affected my trades, right? If PPI was really bad, I would have been looking to short down to 100k, right? If PPI was really bad, CPI was probably going to come out bad. That was going to probably affect rate cuts, and the whole market would have changed. So you can't just trade off, oh, September's usually bad. That's one of the easiest ways to lose all your money is, oh, September's usually bad. I'm going to stay short. I'm going to get stuck in my conviction, when actually the data directs the market, right? So we need to be leveraging the data, and we've even got these tools that make it easier for us, right? You've got these buy and sell alert tools that help us. So yeah, we took some trades. I also took some longs on ETH. Big up the guys in the group, been absolutely printing. Big up Crypto Moonlander, 85% on that ETH long, 40x leverage. Lovely, happy days. Took some profit, stop loss entry. Brilliant. That's how you don't lose, right? So he's taken profits off the table. He set his stop loss to his entry. Now he can't lose. He's already won. If ETH rallies and goes to all-time high, happy days. He's making huge amounts of money. And if the whole market reverses on us, then he can't lose. That's the key to success. BTC long still open. Took some profits on XRP and ETH long. Absolutely killing it. Big up White Knife Free, 36% on XRP, so around $1,212. And $804 on the ETH long. Lovely trades there, guys. Crypto Moonlander in another Sol long. Yeah, guys have been absolutely printing, so big up you guys in the Discord. Breaking, the 10-year note yield officially drops below 4% for the first time since April 4th. So we had more bullish news shortly after those. After the PPI and CPI came out, markets are now fully pricing in 3 rate cuts this year. So before December, they're now pricing in 3 rate cuts. So we kind of had this fear and concern around PPI and CPI, which is why I was like, I'm not really going to take a big trade until we get this data come out, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen and how it's going to go. So we had a lot of this fear, and that fear is now gone. So that fear of the PPI and CPI is out the way. The next big catalyst we have is the rate cut decision, which is on the 17th. So we have 5 days. We have this big event that everyone has been waiting for. So we have 5 days and this big event. What happens at big events? Usually it's by the rumor, okay? So what happens is you usually pump into the event. It's a big catalyst, especially something like rate cuts, because it's a bullish event, right? It's technically a bullish event. It's what retail have been waiting for. If you go and look at all the normie channels on YouTube, they're talking about rate cuts. They're gonna send us to Valhalla. They're gonna return all of these gains, and everyone's gonna be printing. It's possible, yes, it's absolutely possible. But what I'm looking at here is, what are they telling retail? What are the top channels with millions of subscribers telling retail? What are retail thinking? I'm looking at the comments on posts, and the consensus seems to be that retail think rate cuts are going to take us to the moon. And so they want to believe that, right, as well, because if you've been in altcoins for the last 12 months, you're probably down. Most altcoins have been trending down for 12, 13, 14 months into almost a mini altcoin bear market, whilst Bitcoin has been going in its own bull run, which is very odd. Definitely didn't happen last cycle. So yeah, a lot of people want to believe it. A lot of people, you have to remember, most retail came into crypto when we were selling, right? So when we were taking profits around March 24, most altcoins were up 20x, 30x, 40x. Most people had made life-changing money already from buying in 2022, and retail can't come into that because everyone is talking about how much money they've made, right? We're all talking about, I've made 2,500% in 2 years on Casper. I made this on Render. We got Solana near the bottom. Everyone's making money. And then all of retail, even my friends, were saying, should I get into crypto? Should I start buying? Even my own brother, who I keep trying to get into crypto, he came back into the market around the top, as he did last cycle as well. He keeps coming back when it's pumping. He buys and then it dumps and he leaves. It's some people are just hard to convince, guys. And so they come into the market, they buy, and a lot of them are down. And, when you're down bad, if you're down 50, 60, 70, 80%, you want to believe that there is going to be this massive FOMO rally and this FOMO pump, and everything's going to go up 10, 50, 20x. You want to believe it is the problem, right? You're not in a situation where you can't believe it. You're not in a situation where you can take profits off the table and de-risk because you're already down so much. So a lot of retail want to believe it. This is kind of good in a way, because if they're down 60, 70, 80%, they're probably not going to get too concerned until all-time high. So when it returns back to their break-even entries, some people are just happy getting back out at break-even, right? They put 10k into crypto, it's now worth 3k. They're like, oh man, if I can just get back to that 10k, I'll sell it, and then I'll just wait for the bear market, and I'll count my blessings that I didn't actually end up losing 7k. A lot of people are in that situation. You also have greed, right? So human greed rules, and a lot of people will get back to their break even, and they'll be, this is my chance. This is what I've been waiting for. And I hope it happens. I don't want anyone to lose any money. I've still got 33% of my portfolio still in crypto, right? Because I don't know what's going to happen either. But that's why I DCA out. So I take profits in the pumps, and then I slowly dollar cost average out. And if we do have this, well, it doesn't really bother me too much, right? I've already won. And then hopefully we do this into Q4. So the Q4 rally is potentially coming. So trying to understand what retail are going to do is key. It's very hard to predict, but I would think most of them expect rate cuts to make a huge impact. And I would expect that on the rate cut day, so in 5 days when we have the rate cut decision, I would expect that retail are expecting us to do, the price is likely going to be doing this, right? Because you normally rally into a rate cut. You normally pump into these events. And I would expect retail are expecting a big pump on the rate cut decision. So we're going to get a 2.5 basis cut, right? There's a chance of a 50. It's very small. And if you know Powell, he's very conservative. He doesn't want to do anything that's going to spook the markets, and a 50 cut would potentially spook the markets. Yes, it can be good, but you also have to remember that a 50 cut would it be a sign that something's wrong and we messed up, right? So that would kind of create some fear in the markets, and it's very hard to predict. I think either way, we might see a sell the news event on the rate cut decision. I think we might see a sell the news event. Now, if you're new to crypto or you're new to trading, most of the time these events are sell the news, right? I went short last cycle when Elon Musk was going on Saturday Night Live to talk about Doge, and everyone said, why are you shorting? He's literally about to tell the whole world about Doge, the meme coin. And I was like, well, this is the exact reason I'm shorting, right? It's once everyone knows about it and it's kind of reached that peak, that tends to be the top. Same as when Eminem and Snoop Dogg started buying NFTs and talking about them on TV. It was around the top of the market. There's been loads of different scenarios that have actually been the top. I can't think off the top of my head, but there's loads of different scenarios that have actually marked the top. And this could potentially be potentially be a sell the news event if they cut. So if the Fed cut 25, this is kind of what's expected. I'm probably going to react to the market. Now, we have to be very careful that there might be a fake out pump. So there might be a fake pump like this to suck in some longs, because if there's a rate cut, socials is going to be filled with this is it, we're pumping, we're going up, Everyone is going to enter new long positions, right? Especially retail. Like, you're going to see James Wynn probably on 40x leverage again, long in meme coins. Everyone's going to be taking longs, and if you want to suck in as many longs as possible, if I was a market maker, sometimes I like to think of these situations like I'm a market maker, I would pump the price of altcoins, and I would pump the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana. And socials is bullish, the charts are bullish, retail love green candles, they see pump, they see rate cuts. This is it, this is the start of the bull run, here we go, all the KOLs are saying here we go, this is it. And then I would rug everybody, right? I would liquidate all of those longs. And it's so easy to bring the price down. It's much harder to push the price a lot, because people like us who are in long positions are going to be making a lot of money. And, they have bags of Bitcoin that they can just sell. And it's very easy to dump the markets, because you just sell a few $1 billion. People panic sell, you hit some liquidations, and then you just buy it back up, right? It's actually very hard to send Bitcoin to 200k if you wanted to, because you're going to need loads and loads of cash to buy that, loads of cash on the sides to buy that. And also, people are going to be dumping on you all the way up. They're going to be dumping their bags all the way up. You're going to see all these whales selling 2 billion, all the whales that have been holding for 10 years, 14 years, dumping. And then you're left with this Bitcoin and that you might struggle to sell it to. So you'd have to sell it off really fast, right? So it's a lot easier to bring the price down than it is to bring it up. And we know that this cycle has been a liquidation fest, right? We see time and time again, these exchanges, they're just constantly, it seems like they want to liquidate everyone. It's free money for them, right? It's free money for Coinbase. It's free money for Binance. If you look at some of this, I posted this the other day, market makers are playing their favorite game of scam everyone. Like, they make it's going up, this is it, we're breaking out, everyone goes into longs, they rug it, everyone goes into shorts, they rug it. Like, they're just like liquidating all the longs, all the shorts, all the longs, and then eventually they let it go, right? The price, they can't sustain it and they let it go. Maybe they've sold too much. But they're just playing games at the moment, guys. The less regulations we have, it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. The less regulations we have, the more cowboy activity we're going to see in this space. And if there's less chances of anyone coming for them, they'll just get wild and do what the hell they want. But you don't really want heavy regulation, because then that just limits the space growth as well. So it's swings and roundabouts. I would definitely choose easier or softer regulations, but market makers right now, the world is their oyster, and they've got a license just to print billions, just buying and selling in large amounts. So always be careful of that. Always be careful of that. There's no reason why they couldn't do it right now on Bitcoin. Looking at the weekly time frame, this is our bull run support line down here. This is our resistance up here. And, every time we've come down to this level, it's been life-changing for me personally. And this is where I was really bullish. RSI was oversold, and then we rallied RSI straight to the top, right? We had straight to our resistance level up here. We had our yellow candle flash. So if you look over here on the SMC bot legend, yellow candle means you're about to go into a downtrend. And then we had this downtrend, very easy trade, straight back to support. All you had to do is be patient until you came back to this level, and that's where we took our next big trade. Again, it was quite life-changing. I made over $100,000, but I wish I'd have held longer. I took some profits after 100,000. There was a lot of stuff going on in the media and in the market, and a lot of ifs and buts. And I took profit. I decided to take some profits off the table, but coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. No one went broke taking profits, and these trades are going to come back to us again. So yeah, RSI oversold, lovely rally. This is where we long Bitcoin. I think I was saying TP 100k, but I also sold it around 95, 96k, so a little bit early. But again, I made like $250,000 on that long position. This is where I'm really interested in taking my next big long, and I was hoping that we could come down here in September, but it seems like we're trying to break out here. Now the volume has been kind of trickling down, so you know we were pulling down. I do want to see this volume increase. The good news is we do have our RSI on the weekly is oversold. Now the last time it was oversold was in this region too. We didn't have our green bars pop up, so I was hoping to see green bars. So there is something a little bit shady about this. I'm not seeing the confluence that we had on this move, right? This is where I said, you know, I think I posted it the other day, right? This is where I posted saying, yeah, this is where I posted saying, we aren't quite there, but let's keep an eye on it. It would be absolutely beautiful if we push this trend line. BTC comes down to support, would be huge conviction on longs, spot buys, stocks, and leverage. And yeah, we literally bounced off that exact T on the SMC bot. Same thing last cycle, same thing cycle before, same thing cycle before. Like, it's so consistent, that support line. And we literally bounced off that to the T. And the S&P went up 36% since that buy alert. Absolutely insane, guys. It went up more than some altcoins, which is embarrassing. Yeah, $15 trillion came into the market after that buy. Absolutely crazy. So it's been very consistent, and I think we are going to return there at some point. It's just when. Okay, so it's just when. This would have made a lot of sense to come back down here. We didn't quite hit our top resistance. So, you know, I was thinking maybe we push up to 130k here, and then we come down, and then we had this yellow candle that said, you know, you're kind of about to go into a downtrend. You see this yellow candle flashed here on the SMC bot. So I think we were shorts. I think we were taking shorts here. Yeah, I was taking shorts here, but they came up and they hit the stop loss again, right? They sent this scam. Look at this scam wick they sent up. 119,000 to 124,000 and then scammed it straight back down. Like, literally was a short squeeze before letting the price go. Like, they knew the price was about to tank, and then they just dumped and dumped and dumped after liquidating everyone. Savage game, guys. And we're looking strong, right? We're looking strong. We broke out of this falling channel. Like, if this channel was moving to the upside, it would be a bearish pattern, right? So if the channel was like this, something like this, it would be a bearish pattern, and we'd be looking for shorts. This is what I do when we go into a bear market, guys. This is kind of what I do. I do the same as what we're doing now, but in reverse. So we look for these kind of channels, and these are beautiful to short. They're absolutely incredible. I love these a lot more than falling wedges, because these are so consistent for breakdowns, and usually as soon as you break this neckline, you're gone. And it happens really fast. And also you can short the top levels here, right? You short the top levels. It's very hard for the price to get over these top levels when you come into these rising channels and going into a bear market. But again, that's for a short strategy. We're not in a short strategy right now. When I sell my final bag, so I've sold my first DCA March 24, second DCA January 25, and I have my final bag left for apparently the Q4 bull run that we might see. If we get free rate cuts this cycle, it's good times. Yeah, it's good times if we get free rate cuts. We might get a sell the news on this first rate cut, but I think it's good times overall. I think it'll be short-lived, the sell the news event. And yeah, if we get free rate cuts, you know, we could have a good Q4, and I'm glad I've kept my moon back. There were times this cycle where I was like, should I just sell the rest of my crypto? It's, you know, it's up a lot of money. I think I'm still up 10x on a lot of stuff. Almost 10x on render. Casper's over 10x up. So, you know, it's still in quite large profits. But it would be nice if we get a rally into Q4 and I can just sell it at 30x or 40x, right? I only need, if something's 10x up, I only need a 3x on render to make 30x, right? I only need a 3x on Casper to make 30x. So I only really need a 3x. I know some people are looking for 20, 30x's coming into the market now, and I hope it plays out for you. But pigs get slaughtered, and for me, buying in the bear market is key. I was patient. I bought in the bear market, and hopefully we can see that rally. But I'm not going to stick around too long. If everything starts to go crazy, I'm going to be out taking profits to stable coins and preparing for the next cycle, because that's where I've made most of my money this cycle. It's actually preparing and taking profits off the table and preparing. It's changed my life, and if I'm able to do that again next cycle, it's a different level of upgrading. So yeah, I need to be locked in on that and be very, very patient. So yeah, looking good. Hopefully we can push up to 124. We're going to see resistance at 123 to 124. Hopefully we can push up. Now we only have 5 days until the decision. So are we going to see a very bullish 5 days here is the question, right? Obviously, the market follows the S&P as well, so we're going to have to track the S&P. We don't really have too much resistance on the S&P until we hit this yellow line up here. Man, imagine 7,000 is the next big res. I'm not saying we can push up to 7,000 this fast, guys, but yeah, this yellow line is where I'd expect some res. So we do also have some room to breathe here into the rate cut. The RSI is really getting quite choppy, so this kind of supports our potential sell the news event. Maybe we have a sell the news event into the rate cuts, which would also let the RSI breathe a bit. So yeah, we're going to keep an eye on the stock market. We're going to have to keep an eye on the dollar. The dollar did start to go sideways. We did have this green bottoming indicator as well. But the RSI is also overbought, so we've got conflicting data. We're also going to have to keep an eye on gold. Gold actually came up and hit our technical target. Do you remember we talked about this potential breakout of this pennant here? Sorry, this triangle, this wedge even. And yeah, pushed up and look at this, hit our exact target to the T. It's kind of crazy how technical analysis plays out sometimes, literally to the T. And likely if it had have came down here, it would have hit to the T. So usually you would get some sort of reversal point at these levels. So you usually do something like this, or if you break to the downside, you usually do something like this. So that's kind of an interesting trade I'm looking at right now. And, it's quite a low risk trade because I can just set my stop loss just above this as well, right? Or I set my stop loss where this white line is. And I risk a very small amount. And, the play usually happens like this. And I have my take profit targets. Or maybe gold actually chills out and cools down here. Who knows? But yeah, it's crazy how gold actually hit that target. Let's see how it plays out, guys. Everyone is talking about gold. Even normies on TikTok are talking about gold. That's not the time, right? It's not the time. People are going to get wrecked. Gold has done this before. And, when everyone, including the normies, are saying gold, 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 buy gold, we're running out of time. It's going to run away. That's when most people end up losing, right? Most of the people buying gold right now are actually going to end up likely in a loss in a very short amount of time. And, this isn't its first rodeo, right? It's not its first rodeo. It done this back here in 2020. In 2020, it went on this massive run, right? Massive run. Great buy signal from the SMC bot down here at 1.2K. And then how long before it made a new high? So let's actually have a look. It didn't make a new high, really, until March 24. So imagine buying something in August 20 and waiting 14 years to be even 1% in profit. Because you're already down against inflation, right? So you're even massively down. Even when it went into all-time highs, you're still massively down against inflation over 10 years, especially with how fast fiat is depreciating these days. And who's got the stamina to hold for 14 years? Because don't forget, whilst you were holding this for 14 years, Bitcoin has been through multiple bull runs. So Bitcoin has done this. And then done this, and it's done hundreds and thousands of X's. So whilst you're not even back to break even, Bitcoin has done, thousands of X's. Nvidia's done like 100x. Palantir's done like a crazy X's. You could have nearly invested in anything else. One of the most popular, you wouldn't even have to have looked hard. You would have just gone with a popular asset like Apple, Facebook, Nvidia, and you would have massively outperformed gold. So it's not really for me unless we see a massive crash or a correction. I would like to have some gold, but there is always the case that we just repeat history and this goes into a 10-year correction, right? We get another cup and handle pattern and it does something like this over 10 years. And I literally don't have the patience for that, guys. I don't have the patience to sit and watch my bags go down for 7 years or 8 years or 9 years. And I know what would happen. I would end up selling it at a 30% loss and going back into an AI company or Ethereum or Solana. Not for me personally, like for bankers and stuff and people with hundreds of millions. Yeah, I get it. It makes sense. But yeah, don't forget how poor, even though it looks amazing and there's a lot of talk about gold and how great it is and everyone on TikTok is even talking about it, don't forget for 14 years, it didn't achieve anything. And if you factor in inflation, you know, it was even longer. S&P opens in, how long we got till the S&P opens? Got still a couple of hours till the S&P opens. So yeah, looks like we're going to see a 25 basis cut. Potentially 50. We've already talked about the reaction we might see off of those. Probably short-term pump on 50, maybe followed by a bit of a sell the news, and obviously market makers wanting to liquidate all the longs. I think there would be loads of late longs that came in. Again, I'll talk about these nearer the time because, you know, more data comes out, events happen, things might completely change, right? Things can change overnight. Some people say to me, oh, you know, you were bullish and you said Bitcoin might push up into rate cuts. And what happens if a war breaks out, right? I'd be in a short position and I would have already taken profits on my long. What happens if, you know, there's an assassination? Like, it's crazy times at the moment in the USA. Anything can happen overnight and things can change, right? So yeah, I'm reactive trading at the moment. I'm taking reactive trades, nothing set in stone. The only time I really take trades that are set in stone are the bear market, right? The only time I sort of build a portfolio of low risk assets in the bear market that I hold long term. And, you know, I'm not selling these until, you know, I think I said Bitcoin should reach 100K, and that's probably where I'm going to start to take some more profits off the table. And that was down here, I said that, right? It was down here. That's kind of when things are set in stone. And, you know, Bitcoin rallied and we went for a bull run and we went and hit 100K. So I'm going to do the same thing next cycle. If Bitcoin comes down to 70K, I'll figure out roughly based on the previous cycles, the average target. And I'll say, look, these are probably going to be the points where I'll take profits. And, you know, when we see extreme greed and euphoria and we see more retail coming into the market, because we're going to get a whole batch of new, fresh, green retail coming into the market, just as we did this cycle, buying the pumps, buying the meme coins, buying the froth, seeing stories about meme coin millionaires and buying, it all happens over and over again. If anything, there's going to be an even bigger meme coin cycle next cycle because there were so many degens that came into the market this cycle. Meme coins became, institutions were buying meme coins for the first time this cycle. So I think next cycle we're going to see an even bigger meme coin cycle, and especially when loads of new retail come in, it's going to be diluted, it's going to be saturated very fast. I think the pumps are going to be very short-lived. Because of the amount of meme coins, and by next cycle there's probably going to be hundreds of millions of meme coins as they become cheaper and cheaper to launch, and more people just start launching them. The SEC have actually came out and said they're not going to really regulate meme coins as well. They said recently that if you're trading meme coins, you're on your own basically, because if you're buying a picture of a stick or a rock, who are you to, you know, come and say, I've been hard done by? If you're buying a picture of a talking frog that clearly says, you know, this has no use case, you know, how can we know what we're doing, right? We know exactly what we're doing, and we want to blame other people, and, you know, we want to blame reasons, but the entire meme coin market is down 99%. Like 99% of meme coins are down 99%. So, you know, it makes me laugh. People say, you know, this one, the team didn't do enough work. Or are you saying every single team didn't do enough work? Are you saying every single team, you know, didn't do enough marketing? Guys, sometimes things just don't rally. Sometimes people just get in and out, right? And the get in and out culture is become even worse as meme coins have gone on. If we were still in last cycle where there was only a few meme coins, yeah, if you look at the market caps of those meme coins, they actually held up for quite a while, and a lot of people held because there was only a few that you could choose from, right? There was literally like Doge, and then Pepe came. Pepe came more this cycle really, but there was only a few to choose from. But now there's so many. People buy, make money, go into the next one. Buy, make money, go into the next one. So the strategy has become to get in early and then take profits quite soon, right? If that's how people are making money, that's the strategy. Get in. Does it ride? Yes. Ride it for a few weeks, whatever, and then get out. And or some people obviously get into them early and wait for them to explode. 3 months later, 4 months later, like the guys who got into Trump early, right? They got into Trump before President Trump actually started to do really well, and they got into Trump early, and then people started to connect the dots, and they're like, Trump might be president again, and then those guys who got into Trump early made millions, right? They changed their life. So there's different strategies with meme coins, but they are meme coins, guys. Most of my money is going to be going into layer ones. I'm really interested in quantum resistant chains going into next cycle. There's loads of different sectors I'm quite interested in, but yeah, guys, if you want to get the SMC bot in your own trading view, so it works inside a free trading view, you don't need a paid one for this. You can get that by joining our Patreon. So you also get access to the Discord, so you see all of my leverage trades. I have a professional leverage trader in here that I pay monthly, and he gives amazing setups. He actually, since I took him on many months ago, he's not lost in a single month. Like every month he's ended up in profits. Really good. He doesn't post many trades, which I like, because the ones he does post are very consistent. So I normally go with quite large size on his trades. I'm a bit of a degen, so I use a lot smaller amounts when I'm taking longs, but he does more snipes, but his reversal points are amazing. Like when he says it's likely we're going to bounce here, we tend to bounce, or when we get rejected here, we tend to get rejected. So I do take big trades. Obviously, I'm using stop losses with his trades as well. But if you want to get access to the Discord, it comes with the SMC bot, and you can see my announcements. I do regular updates and announcements. My portfolio, obviously, I'm going to be building that a lot more in the bear market. We've got a really cool group in here. All looking for the next best investments, the next best AI stocks, the best quantum stocks, the best cryptos, and we're tracking a lot of on-chain data as well. So we can see when people are moving money around. You can see here I posted ETH Foundation is selling again. As soon as the ETH Foundation start moving ETH, we see it on chain, which gives us an advantage on the market, because we can see these happening in real time, right? So if I see loads of whales moving hundreds of millions of dollars of Solana to exchanges, then I can use that data, and especially if it looks like Solana's just rallied a lot and I can see the whales are about to dump, happy days. Because when they move it to an exchange, it's kind of a heads up, right? Because they're preparing to sell, and usually they won't sell all at once. They won't sell 100 million in one transaction. They'll sell a few million here every 20 minutes or something like that. So it's kind of a heads up before price can move. Really powerful data that you can get access to. If you want to join, guys, head over to my X. At the bottom here, you'll see the name of the channel. So type that into X and then find my account, and then click this link here, and then in there you'll see some bubbles, and one of them's for Patreon. Go on the Patreon bubble, and then you can sign up with us, and you can jump in the Discord. It's a monthly thing, so you're not trapped, or I'm not trying to sign anyone up to a yearly or a 2 yearly, and I don't agree with it personally, but if you don't like it, you can just leave, right? So if you join for a month and you don't like it, you're not finding benefit or you're not finding value, you can leave at any time. And you can see we've got so many members in our Discord that I'll pay monthly that can leave at any time. But we've built up a real nice community, and we're excited. We're excited to smash the next cycle, and hopefully we see this Q4 rally and we can sell our final bags. But either way, we're in a position now where we can't lose, right? That's why I DCA out, can't lose, already won. The rest is free money. And hey, if we pump, I'll sell it. If we dump, I'll sell it. Either way, sell. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest. Press the bell notification button on the videos so you don't miss out on any of these. Don't forget, the information in this video is not financial advice. Do your own research. Investing in crypto is highly risky. You can lose all of your money investing in anything. So always do your own research before taking or making any decisions. That's it for now, guys. Until then, I'll catch you in the next one.